Last rights, welcome, etc. Subscribe, etc. That will be a double etc. for your lovely Friday viewing. Straight to it then, yeah. Newer sort of Epstein emails come out this week, of course, when the US government is finally allowed to get back in. We knew some stuff was going to come out, and this one, see from this article here, is that Epstein mentioned Trump multiple times in private emails. Nothing too directly nefarious, but it is interesting. So, yeah, we know who Epstein was. Epstein, a convicted you-know-what offender whose death by allegedly no one else's hands spawned intense scrutiny of the high-profile people he knew. All right, so the emails to long-time associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who was convicted of trafficking after Epstein's death, and the author Michael Wolff, because I think Michael Wolff was writing a book and he's doing some good stuff at the moment. Wolfie, include conversations in which Epstein asserts Trump spent a significant time with a woman whom oversight Democrats describe as a victim of Epstein's trafficking. The emails also include a message in which Epstein asserts Trump knew about the girls, seemingly in reference to Trump's claim that he kicked Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club for poaching young women who worked there. So the victim that Trump supposedly spent a long time with, I think, has been released as Virginia Giuffre, and she has said that, all right, Trump didn't do anything massively inappropriate with her. And, you know, I kind of believe that because she's been on the Andrew train for a long, long, long time. I think even before Trump's first run as president. So, yeah, but knowledge of it, yeah, that's the thing with this, right? So there's an email there. It's a bit of an odd one. An email dated April the 2nd, 2011. Epstein emailed Maxwell, I want you to realise that dog, he's not Dog the Bounty Hunter, I suppose, that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Redacted, spent hours at my house with him. In the email here, it's got redacted and just puts victim over it, right? But that apparently is Virginia Giuffre. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Little bit cryptic, that one. A little bit odd. I want you to realise that the dog who hasn't barked is Trump. Redacted, Giuffre spent hours at my house with him. Double comma. He has never been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 70% there. Sounds a bit garbled at the end there, but I guess it's coded. I mean, he has never once been mentioned in a police investigation, maybe. I'm 75% there. What, I'm tugging one off as I'm writing this? Who knows? Who knows what that is about? So yeah, Giuffre's basically dad was a maintenance worker at Mar-a-Lago, and he got her a job as a locker room attendant. And she said Trump couldn't have been friendly, like he wasn't doing anything odd and all that stuff. I know there's a massive... so a lot of people don't like Trump, so there's a massive... need for him to be at the center of all evil, and I don't know if he will be. He might be. He might be, but I think just knowledge of it is enough, right? Just knowledge of that him and Epstein were best friends for years, and according to Michael Wolff, were in the same social circles, kind of into the same stuff in terms of young models and all the rest of it. Billionaires just hanging around on yachts and stuff. But I don't think there's been a direct accusation of Trump being in the real filthy end of the scale so far. Although, as I said, there might well be. But I think knowledge enough is enough, isn't it? Like, if you know, because apparently Trump kicked him out when he's recruiting people at Mar-a-Lago and all the rest of it. But he must have known, because they've been friends since the 80s, right? 80s, 90s, early 2000s. At none of that point, you had no rumours about Epstein, what he was doing. That's the thing. I think he had full knowledge of what was going on. At least 90% knowledge. And I think that's enough. Oh, you take him to that island over there. You know, you go for a drink with your mate down the pub and he goes, I've got to go back to work. What'd you do again? I'm a plumber. All right, don't get too drunk before you do the old fittings. Epstein goes, I've got to get back to work, Donny. Where you going, mate? The island? What are you doing on the island? Pff, got a blue and white temple. It's a bit... satanic, if you ask me, and also take some kids there and that for the old politicians and powerful people. You wouldn't be interested? No, I couldn't. Don't want to hear about that. I'll just, in my head, you're an accountant. a little bit odd, right? I feel. And obviously the Attorney General going to visit Maxwell, and she going, "Oh, there's Trump never did anything appropriate." And again, who the fuck knows, right? I say, unlikely there was nothing appropriate done. But Maxwell, we'll see. She's already in a more comfortable prison, has a puppy apparently, been treated very nicely, and may well be on a route to a commutation or pardon of a sentence. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, Trump mentioned basically multiple times in this latest batch of emails, which I think this is kind of surface stuff anyway, because there's nothing really directly in here. All right, he spent hours with her, but she says nothing happened, and even before any of this, so you can talk about sort of recent pressure after he was in power and stuff, but it's all extremely murky. But some other interesting thing that came out about old Andrew, no longer Prince Andrew, of course. He's denied. First of all, he denied that he even knew. Not knew Epstein, but he denied that he continued ties with him after the famous breakup, where he for some reason had to spend 4 days at his house in New York and then break up with him. What? Do men break up like that as friends as well? Maybe girls, though. I just think guys just stop talking to each other, or they have a fight, right? Or they just stop contacting. We're going to break up as mates, yeah? Just mates, but I'm going to come to New York and have a 4-day party during the breakup, and that's it. No more contact after that, except we now know that let's play some more emails. There was contact after that. Or there certainly plans to be. And like, we're all amazing, let's play more. And Andrew has always denied this photo, but in an email, this is Epstein. The girl fled the country with an outstanding arrest warrant. This is him trying to discredit Giuffre at the moment. I don't know if that's true, by the way. That she had accused others, said in writing that she had no credibility. She was never 15 years old working for me. Her story made it seem like she first worked for Trump at that age and was met by Ghislaine Maxwell. Total horseshit. The Daily Mail paid her money. They admitted it with a statement that it took money to coax out the truth. Yes, she was on my plane. So basically this is like trying to discredit like a major victim, right? And then, yes, she was on my plane. And yes, she had a picture taken with Andrew. I mean, it was probably this picture. And I think this has come from Wolf, I'm not sure. But the person taking the camera with the flash is Epstein. This is in London, of course. There's Maxwell Canapi, Randy Andy, and a young Virginia Giuffre. As many of my employees have had a picture taken with Andrew. I've never misled you. This girl is a total liar. Authorities should check her Australian immigration form. You could talk to Dershowitz, clean as a fucking bar of soap, I'm sure. I will ask if they will cooperate. Prince people. There's a lot of weird little phrasing in here. So we don't know who this email was to, though. But it's someone that he's trying to discredit her as a witness or victim to, and saying, yeah, for sure, she had a picture taken with Andrew, which is probably this one. So Andy has definitely lied about breaking off contact, and he's definitely lied about this picture now, right? Unless there's another picture. But it just seems to me that would be an odd one to go and fake years ago, by the way. It's not as though you can just go and do it really easily now. When there's real ones hanging around. So it just all feels a little bit odd. Yeah, and Andrew's punishment is just not to have Prince in front of his name. Still gets a free house. Apparently the king is paying for it, but where did the royal family get the money ultimately? He didn't get it from his own startup, did he? From us, or someone the royal family accused of being witches 500 years ago. But either way, I don't think he's paying for it really. So he gets a free house. Apparently it's a nice house. Doesn't get royal protection apparently, but who knows how true that is. So he's all right. Really, he's had his credibility destroyed, and I'm sure his daughters think he's a piece of shit. But you know, is it enough? And the Trump thing, yeah, I think that's kind of surface, right? I don't think these really show anything right now, and they're not. It's going to be pretty difficult to get those things released if it does while he's still president. But I think there's a whole lot more to come out, particularly about Andrew, because I know they're apparently bracing for it over here. There's going to be a whole lot more about Andrew as well. So they already proven he's a complete bullshitter. They're probably going to come out next saying he's allergic to Pizza Express and he's the sweatiest man in history. In fact, he sold his sweat on Etsy or something like that, just to discredit his other lies about where he was and his non-sweatability, which is the weirdest fucking thing. By the way, there was an interview that come out from was it from 2010, I think, recently as well, where Andrew was talking about being sweaty. So if he lost the ability to sweat 30 years before that in the Falklands, always sounded a bit suspicious. I never heard of a war injury that ends up with you not being able to sweat. I guess in that you had your entire face burned off, maybe. One of those guys, with the burned faces. Maybe they can't sweat. I'm not sure. That seems like it's quite a lot of skin damage there. But anyway, what do you think? Trumpety Trump at the centre of all evil. I don't think these prove that, but I'm pretty sure that even knowing what Epstein was up to for all those years, even knowing that should be enough, really, at this point to take down a president. But we do live in 2025, don't we? So I think we all entered an alternate reality a few years ago, so who knows, really. Randy Andy, yeah, you're in that photo, pal. That's it. Andy, you dirty bastard, please subscribe. Horrible sorts. I think there's a lot more to come with this. Let us know what you think. Let us know what else is out there that you think might happen. I think we're going to get lots more little data dumps, and we'll see. We'll see over the years. Personally, I think they'll wait until Trump is dead before they release all that. It's just besmirching the is it besmirching a word? Shitting on the name of current presidents. I mean, of course, politics has a lot of mudslinging in it, but I think when it comes to that stuff, if they prove that he was, essentially fucking a lot of people he really shouldn't be, I think they'll wait a long time. And then, can he pre-pardon himself for that as a president? I think he might be able to. Just go, look, I'm going to pardon myself. Because Biden did it for Fauci and his son and all that, right? So I'm sure Trump could pardon himself for all subsequent crimes that might come out. Over this anyway. But listen, Trump's not the big bad evil in this, right? And neither is Epstein. Epstein was doing this for someone else. We don't know who. I don't think it was just this bad guy. I think he was into it. Don't get me wrong. Clearly into it. But there was a lot of recording of information. There's all these emails that have been kept and weren't purged, right? And why would you write it in an email anyway? There's paintings of Clinton in a dress with heels. Apparently there was CCTV in at least New York and the island. I don't know about the Florida house and the ranch he has. Where's all that? So things were documented. I don't think it was all documented for him to sit there with all this evil blackmail there. I think it was probably documented for, let's say, an organisation that would benefit from having this kind of information. But was he into it as well? Absolutely. And that's probably why I was recruited for that job as well. Anyway, I'm going on. Have a great weekend, guys. What a nice, positive story. A positive email-ridden story for the weekend. Trump mentioned loads of times, and he did. Probably was in that photo. And he was on the plane. And we know he's got to be the dirtiest one as well. Andy. I'm sure his nickname was Randy Andy in the tabloids in the 90s. That's where I got that from. Pulled that out my arse somewhere. No pun intended. All right, please subscribe. See you later.